Alright guys, welcome back. I am Tim, the technician, working on your vehicle today, our 2004 325 Coupe, and Ryan is going to be doing the diagnosis with me on it. So what we've already done is identified that the car has 150,000 miles on the odometer, and interior's in fair condition, may need a little bit more repair. Paint and body not in the greatest condition. So what we're going to show you today is the overall condition of the vehicle and what's going on here. I can't really see. What we see of the coolant is that it is bluish green, and it looks to be contaminated in that location in the reservoir. But again, this car came from another repair shop, and what we're doing is double checking. So we went ahead and pulled the oil filter, and already we can see the milkiness of the oil. And of course, this is a German car, and yet we have a made in China filter. So Ryan, why don't you go ahead and pull that oil filter off the cap. And here we can see how diluted the oil is with coolant. And if you want to angle that sideways, I want to open up the pleats and see what do we see inside. Is there any metallic in the pleats of the oil filter?
Nothing immediately obvious.
Okay, so as of right now,
dirt in there, but
as of right now, we can pretty much safe to say that we have coolant to oil contamination in the lubricating system. And if we look at the condition of the sludge at the bottom of the oil filter housing right here, you can see it's a thick, goopy consistency. Also verified by the oil filler cap, which also has this jello or chocolate milk looking substance. We also observe the same here inside the valve cover. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to go ahead and remove the upper cover, the coils, and the spark plugs, and we're going to go ahead and pressure test the cooling system and see if we have any external leaks or if we have any internal leaks of the engine itself. So we'll keep you updated. Alright guys, so now we've got the upper cover off. We're going to go ahead and pull the ignition coils, and as we do so, we note down that the ignition coils are freshly replaced. I don't see Bremmy or Bosch on them, so what looks to be a Lightning, so maybe some China special. You got to be careful with these aftermarket ones. Do you see any logos on there?
no, I know sometimes the one brand I can't remember. The one a lot of times doesn't have much logoing.
Want to break that loose?
But it does have a little lightning bolt like the headlights do.
So I would guess most likely aftermarket. And then the reason why we're taking the spark plugs out, not only do we want to inspect the overall condition of them, hopefully they're not brand new, which will be a mass hour problem, but when we pressure test the cooling system here in a minute, we want to see if coolant is being filled into the combustion chamber or not. And then I've got the table set up right here, and I've marked out all of our cylinders. And unfortunately, they look like they've already been replaced. But what I'm observing here is some exhaust blow-by gases on the ceramic. MGK, GR, yep. These look like to be the right ones based upon familiarity with the part number, but we'll definitely cross-reference them. It smells sweet, which tells me that most likely coolant has entered the chamber, which supports what we found already. So now that we've got the plugs out, we're going to go ahead and proceed for a pressure test. Alright guys, we opted to take the air box off right here so we can have a little bit more access. Quick observation, I got some what appears to be some junkyard writing on this alternator here. And quick overview of our belts and tensioners. Looks like the this upper idler pulley is aged, as well as the tensioner right down here. Put my green on it. But if you keep looking over, down there you can see shiny aluminum mated to a worn aluminum engine block, and that's the new water pump. So water pump has been replaced, and that stuff that looks like copper over there, that is the old rusty coolant that was in here, which tells me the cooling system is probably not maintained in this vehicle. Thermostat appears to be either original or 150. I would imagine it would be replaced by now at one point. And we've got our Gates hose. It appears that the two coolant pipes underneath the intake manifold down there, you can see my green dot on them, have been replaced. And I can confirm that because I see a white paper. Whoever had the part number or what have you did not remove that before they put that on there. And it also looks like the Vanos pressure hose has been replaced. So I did not see any oil leaks, but I did see some coolant traces here. We can see down at the bottom. It looks wet, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is a live coolant leak, but we're gonna find out here in a quick minute. Quick observation while I'm down here. That engine mount is destroyed, which I'll show you later when we raise the car. This engine is sagging really bad. So engine mount replacement is definitely in order. So let's go ahead and pressure test the cooling system. Alright, so before we pressure test, what I wanted to do is I want to make sure that the cooling system is bled. Never mind the jug, we just used water for right now because obviously we're not using coolant in a completed setup here. So we'll go ahead and fill until we get all the air out, which I'm glad we did this because it's empty. Step one, never skip steps. Wow, look at that. Half a gallon of coolant right there, or half a gallon of water. So now we'll start seeing air and water come out of the bleed hole. And I'm going to stop right before it rises because I don't want any coolant. I don't want to create any coolant leaks. So we're going to go ahead and stop right there. And this is why it's so important to never skip steps. And at the end of a coolant repair, we like to make sure that we're putting a brass plug in here rather than these plastics, because these plastics expand and contract and sometimes they pop. So little pro tip right there. Okay, let's put our adapter cap on. Go ahead and set up our coolant pressure tester. We're filling to 19 psi. And we're listening for coolant leaks, and we're going to be looking for coolant leaks. And we're going to stop right about here at 20 psi. So let's see if we observe any leaks on the ground. So far, I don't see any yet. However, we're going to leave this pressure test on for about 20 minutes. And as Ryan is looking below to see if any of the coolant pipes we talked about underneath the intake manifold here that go to the heater hoses are leaking, I'm going to go ahead and look into the chamber and see what we see, perhaps coolant. Cylinder 1, I see some heavy carbon buildup. Same for cylinder 2. Oh, I see a clean cylinder here in number 3. When I see a clean top of the piston, when these last two were carboned up, tells me something's cleaning it in here. My guess is coolant.
Good old-fashioned steam cleaning.
Yes, sir. See, 5 heavily carboned up, 6 heavily carboned up, but 3 and 4 are cleaned up. Now, out of experience from doing this 20 plus years, these 2 cylinders get the least amount of cooling when you drop the coolant level. So even though the coolant is flowing through the water pump here, it has to get through the engine and back around. So sometimes you develop a crack, the head gasket may crack, but right now what's suspect is definitely cylinder number 3, and 4 we'll keep an eye on. Visually, I don't believe we've got anything going on at 1 and 2 and 5 and 6. So what do you see here, Ryan? Any leaks?
Nothing active that I can see.
What's bizarre, because you see how we got wet coolant right here down at the bottom on the block here?
That's nice and clean. Now it is noteworthy that this car did catastrophically overheat several times.
Yeah.
And at one point the radiator exploded, so we should expect to probably see some residual depending on how the last guy cleaned it up too.
Another thing that I'm observing here is this cooling system does not look right. Observe how close this pusher fan is. As a matter of fact, from the bottom, the puller fan, yeah, you can actually see it contacting the compressor down there. And this is the factory one, so I'm not sure this is factory. Or maybe it's been retrofitted, but I don't commonly see, it's not a manual transmission, right?
No, it's an auto.
So I don't commonly see a puller fan in conjunction with a pusher fan on factory cooling systems. So let's see what we got here. We're still holding 20 PSI, so why don't we go take a little water break? We'll keep an eye on the cooling system here, and we'll keep you updated. Alright guys, so Ryan observed there's coolant leaking from the bottom of the car. We're forming a little bit of a puddle, so we'll probably want to put a catch pan on that. And we've also formed a coolant leak here. So we'll want to raise the vehicle so we can identify where this coolant leak is coming from. South of the expansion tank. But I may have been wrong about those 2 coolant pipes being replaced. So, because there's nothing else that really leaks from back there. And I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's definitely coolant forming down there and running down, dripping on the ground. So, from my experience, the only thing that I've really seen underneath the intake manifold is those coolant pipes. So, my next recommendation for at least that is going to be to remove the intake manifold so that we can verify it. But right now, let's move on to a compression test. I don't see coolant filling up in the cylinders here, so Ryan's going to jump in and do our cranking. We've already went ahead and removed the fuel pump fuse from inside the car, so we don't have any fuel injection spraying into the chamber. I've tightened up our Matco gauge here, so we got cylinder 1. Let's go ahead and fire. Let's go 5 cranks.
Do you want throttle plate open?
No. Go 2 more cranks. Do that again. Crank. Stop. I don't know if you guys saw that in the camera there, but as he was cranking, coolant was coming out from the cylinder number 3. Crank again, Ryan. Look at that. Woo! Almost got me in my good eye. And it looks like with all that cranking, it mustered up 125. So we're going to do that cylinder 1 crank one more time. All right. Let's go ahead and do 7 cranks, please. That's good. Cylinder number 1, 125 PSI.
straight coolant out of it.
So we're slightly amused as car nerds with the amount of coolant that's spraying out of this cylinder here. All right, so I've moved on to cylinder number 2. Got it nice and tight. Brian, go ahead and give me 7 cranks, please. All right, so I got 130 PSI. Hey, what do you think cylinder number 3 is gonna have?
Like 60.
Yeah, I'm not very optimistic.
That explains what blew up his radiator.
Yep. All right, cylinder number 3 when you're ready. Yep.
What do we get?
165.
What?
Higher than the others. Because it's squeezing the coolant.
I was going to say, it is getting coolant in it, I guess.
Yeah, it's compressed. It's trying to compress the coolant.
I haven't considered that in my hypothesis.
All right. All right, we're now in cylinder number 4. And ready when you are, Ryan. $135. And if we look at our pressure, we dropped significantly. We're almost down to 20 PSI from 28. So not just this cranking that we're doing, but I'm sure there's a puddle underneath the car from those coolant pipes underneath leaking. So that's the difference really between these older Mary 54s and the newer Nancy 52s, is with the new the control and monitoring of the cooling system, BMW was able to use electronics to stall the engine using the torque converter if you got it too hot. If you're going to blow up the engine, remember, they're protecting themselves under warranty first before they protect you. So rather than have to buy motors, when I was at the dealer in this generation, we replaced not gaskets, but cylinder heads, motors, all kinds of overheating issues, primarily because the coolant service wasn't done. And then you got these jinky composite plastic hoses. And then this day and age, as old as these cars are, it's even worse because now you got reproduction of them. All right, we're in cylinder number 5. Let's go ahead and crank when you're ready. Looks like 135. Now we're gonna finish up number 6. By the way, spec for this is 170 to 200 PSI. I believe 30% loss is acceptable on a motor this age. So after this, we're going to call it for the day. We got a good idea of what's going on. Tomorrow when we return, we're going to go ahead and do a leak down test, and then we're also going to do a block test to see how much exhaust, or if we've got exhaust vapors coming into the cooling system, which is what the last shop reported. So okay, Ryan, when you're ready, let's do cylinder number 6. Mustered up a whopping 125. Okay, so we don't have a compression issue, but we definitely have a contamination issue. So that's all for tonight.